Hello everybody, we're live from HQS Wellington in London and we have a panel of experts here who I will ask to all introduce themselves. So, my name's Lorna Wagner and I work for Maritime UK.
I'm Jake McNamee and I'm a cadet with Carnival UK.
I'm Joan Gillis, I work in HR at Port Tilbury London Limited.
Hi, I'm Darryl Bate, I'm the Director of Maritime Training at the Marine Society and Sea Cadets.
And I'm Warren Mike from the Royal Navy Careers.
Great. So I've got some questions here that I'm going to ask you each to help me answer. The first one, big question, what's the best job in maritime? So over to you.
I'm currently in training, so I feel like I've got quite a good scope of what everybody does. I'm quite biased. I do love engineering. I think it's an amazing job to do at sea. It's extremely hands-on. So for me, without a doubt, engineering all the way through, but if possible, at an officer level, you get more involved in more high-tech stuff and a bit more responsibility.
Brilliant.
I've got to be a bit diplomatic working in HR, particularly recruitment. All jobs are the same as all the others. There is one job at the Port Tilbury London Limited, our parent company, Ford Ports, that is better than any others. Our berth sweepers are maybe possibly seen at the bottom of the ladder, but without them we wouldn't be operating, and our chief executive officer wouldn't be doing what he's doing without everybody underneath him. So all jobs are brilliant at the Port Tilbury London.
Yeah, I'd go with that. It's the best job is the one that you have the greatest aptitude for and the one that you enjoy the most. With that said, I had a background as a navigating officer and merchant navy, so I'd probably say in command of a merchant vessel. But no, any job that you do in maritime, if that's what you enjoy, that's your aptitude, fits your skills and stuff, that's probably going to be the best job at that time for you.
So for the Navy careers, obviously we're like a little, if you think of us as a little town at sea, so we cover all the different jobs that are available to you, from engineering through to logistics and even service police. So it's quite a wide variety of different jobs you can do. So as previously mentioned, if you're particularly interested in a certain area, I would say express that interest in that.
Okay, that's great, thank you. Second question, do you need to have GCSE maths to work in maritime?
So as representing cadetships, for any level in a cadetship, whether it's HND, FD or degree, you'll need at least a C or a 4, I think that's how the new system works, in maths. So yes, you will need some sort of level of maths knowledge.
We prefer people to have GCSEs in English and maths, but our apprenticeship scheme is in-house, and we recognise that people learn in different ways, and we have some fabulous resources to help people that maybe didn't take school quite as seriously as they should have, or for various reasons didn't get basic GCSE qualifications. So we take everybody, particularly our apprenticeships, on a personal level as an individual. So for us, it's not a deal breaker.
Yeah, well, I would say whatever sector you work in, whatever career, you need maths and English pretty much these days. So I would, if there's any GCSEs you need to work on, maths and English, absolutely. That said, again, if you're going into an apprenticeship and you don't have them, that's not a problem, because it forms part of the apprenticeship is that you will need to gain, they'll do functional skills with you, which is a level 2 functional skills for a level 3 apprenticeship. So whichever way you look at it, you're going to have to do that, some maths and English, either as a reset or as functional skills. So yes, that's the answer.
So for the Royal Navy, it really does depend on the job choice you're going for. Really what we look at is doing the Navy assessment test, so the recruitment assessment. Depending on what score you get on the recruitment assessment, gives you an opportunity of what roles and jobs you are required and suitable for. There are particular jobs like engineering where you need to be good at maths anyway, and if you're going for certain officer jobs, you'll need to come with a degree as well.
Okay, thank you for that. Now, tricky question, do you have to work on Christmas Day?
So regardless if you're a cadet or you are a fully qualified officer, within the Merchant Navy there's a chance you may have to work Christmas Day. It's not guaranteed, You may have the opportunity to have 3 or 4 Christmases at home, depending on how your rotation works, or you may be stuck with having 3 or 4 Christmases away. Depending on what sort of sector you go into, whether it's cruising or if it's the RFA, or if it's sometimes maybe cargo, there may be opportunities to bring family away with you on board ships, but that's definitely within the cruising industry. I don't know about the RFA as such, but there is an opportunity to bring people out for Christmas. But yes, unfortunately, it can be one of the downsides to being away at sea.
At the Port of Tilbury London Limited, Christmas Day is the one day that the port is shut. However, if you're rostered on for night shift, you will be reporting for duty at 10 p.m. on Christmas Day.
Yeah. Well, as a friend said, if you're at sea, yes, it's a 24/7, 365 day career. In fact, some of the best Christmases I ever had were at sea. So it's probably overrated, but it depends on the role and job you're in, whether you're working Christmas Day.
And for the Royal Navy, obviously we're operational military, so wherever we're expected to go, and whether you're on operational duties, you may be required to serve on a Christmas Day. After 43 years in the Navy, I've only been away for 1 Christmas Day, so I'm quite fortunate.
Wow, that was lucky.
It was, yeah.
Right, next question. This is a tricky one. And I don't expect you to tell me what your salaries are, but can you give me an idea of how much people get paid in your industries?
So this is one of the best things about cadetship is at the end of it all you come out with a qualification, but you don't have the debt that a student would normally have. And that's not taken away from degrees, but as cadetship you don't have any debt. But throughout that time you also get paid. Depending on which company you go for, there's a range as a cadet what you'll get paid for the whole time whilst you've been training. So that can range from I think around about the £500 mark, and that can go up to about £1,500 per month. And then as you qualify, you can range from the day you qualify from about 25k up to about 36k starting wage. So that's after 3 years of training. So you come up with no debt, and then you get a very good wage to start off with, and that actually jumps up relatively quite quickly as you get more experience under your belt, and you'll get in-house qualifications that will help step you up the ladder.
So 80% of the senior management team within Fourth Ports Group, who own Port Tilbury London Limited, all started off as operatives. And the starting point for an operative is a port operative apprenticeship. At the moment, first year apprenticeships are salaried at just under 17,000, rising to £19,500 per annum in the second year. But on the third year, they're up with standard operatives, and that salary ranges from 29 to 32,500. So a lot of our apprentices may already have been working, and they are able to take a salary cut if they're able to, because 2 years goes past quite quickly, and it's a very good salary for anybody, but a young person in particular. And there are opportunities, there are career paths that lead on to engineering roles, logistic manager roles, vessel planners, and with overtime, some of our operatives, particularly our grain operatives, in harvest season, they're on about £50,000 per annum, which I think is pretty good.
Yeah, well, nothing much to add. Really. Apprenticeships, there's a minimum wage, but most employers will pay more than that. So some of the rates you mentioned, I think, are typical in London. The apprentices that we have are on outside London, sort of 14,000 upwards. It all depends on age as well. So if you're 16, obviously you're going to start at a lower rate and so on. Just to add, our friend said, if you're a cadet in Merchant Navy, you will be on a tax-free salary if you're out of the country for 90 days a year. So most merchant seafarers are totally tax-free, which is a huge shock when they come ashore and find there's a thing called income tax and national insurance. So look forward to that.
For the Royal Navy, so if you join as a junior rank, so a rating, initially start around about 15,000. Once you commit after a 6-month period, that will go up to 20,000 a year. For accelerated apprenticeships, so as soon as you walk through the door at HMS Raleigh, starting your apprenticeship training, they're on 32,000 straight away. And then obviously if you go into officer entry, you're looking at degree level 32,000 star, all the way up to maybe 70 or 80,000. And in particular, submarine service, you get additional pay on top of the submarine service as well.
And the last question that I have at the moment is, do you have to wear a uniform to do your job? Well, we can see you on screen, but maybe you could talk about uniforms and personal protective equipment and such like.
So that with my job particularly, I work on cruise ships, so my uniform changes throughout the day. This is my normal working attire, so I'll normally work in this. As an engineer, so I'm an electrical technical officer, cadet, sorry. As a regular engineer, you would go down and work in areas which have a lot of oil, so you wear a boiler suit the majority of the time. For myself, this is my normal attire. But as it comes to the evenings, you'll have to change into the day rig, which sounds a bit fancy-dancy and that stuff, but you basically get a big list of things that you have to wear for that day. So it might be something like a cummerbund and shiny shoes, or it might be a nice penguin suit, or it could be various amounts of things. But you've got to look basically nice for the customers on board on a cruise ship. Then going into late evenings, you have to change again to be able to actually eat as such as well. But essentially for working rig, so what we would normally wear, that can range from what I'm wearing right now, right through to a boiler suit. Depends exactly what the job is. So I can often get changed 3 or 4 times a day, just for the job itself, because PPE at sea is incredibly important, and safety is one of the biggest things to train really massively at sea. So everything from wearing a harness, which can take 2-3 hours of a job and then get changed again, or even wearing like aprons, that sort of stuff, and working hot wax.
So we expect everybody to wear personal protective equipment, PPE, and we provide everything that anyone needs. If you're out in an operational area, you must wear safety boots. We provide fleeces, outdoor high-vis equipment, gloves, respiratory masks, helmets. People like me that are mostly in offices, we don't have to wear a uniform, but if I'm out in an operational area, I have my high-vis waistcoat at the very least. If it's cold, I have a high-vis anorak type thing. I look like someone who's going up the North Pole because it's huge. But it is important. We work in a potentially very dangerous environment, and it is crucial that you are seen and that you can see others. And a good thing about wearing a uniform is you don't have to think about what you're going to wear when you get up in the morning. It's all provided for you.
Nothing much to add other than say our organisation, we run the Sea Cadets, which is the youth development charity, so they're all very familiar with naval uniform and number 1 rig and so on. So those of you who are Sea Cadets maybe or have come through that route will be very familiar with uniforms, and particularly if you go into the armed forces. So, but nothing. Fortunately, I don't have to wear one in my current job.
So as you can imagine, being in a military environment, obviously we have uniforms, so we tend to wear them all day during operational duties, and it really just depends what type of work you're undertaking. Like previously said, as engineers, we tend to wear overalls all day. If we're working on the flight deck, like myself as an aircraft engineer, I would have full helmet, goggles to protect myself. I'm working in quite a foreign object damage area, okay, and quite potential risks on that. If we're tropical, we wear tropical rigs, so we might break down to shorts and sandals, which is a bit more relaxed in hot weather. If we're operating in the jungle, working with the commandos, same again, we'll have specific clothing for that.
And one final question. Can you each tell me what your career goal or your career highlight has been to date, please?
So I've had a very short so far career, as I've only just really started. For me, it was, oh Christ, I might come back to that actually, what my highlight is. But as a goal, cannot wait to be qualified. When you work on board, being a cadet, you're always shadowing, and you've always got this feel of you're not quite got the responsibility that you kind of like really want. Because that's when you join, you feel proud to wear the uniform, and everyone looks at you with just a little bit more of a smile because you're this officer essentially. So when I finally have the stripes that go the other way, I'll be very proud of it. I'll be very much looking forward to being on the ship and being responsible for a group of people.
I'm really fortunate. I think I get to identify where we need people. So I get to administer our vacancies. I do the advertising for them. I shortlist, get people in. I speak to everybody that applies for a job at the Port Tilbury London Limited. Just a quick phone call to make sure that they know what it is that they're applying for. That makes the interviewing process a lot easier. And for me, particularly with the apprentices, it's seeing people come in all nervous. I like to put them at their ease. An interview is as much about you finding out what we're like as us finding out a little bit about you. But to be able to phone someone and offer them a job and then watch them as they progress through their career, I get an enormous amount of satisfaction from that. And I say to everybody that I take on, if you see me over in Asda's car park or out and about, give me a cheery wave, you've got my number. Anything that you need, I'm there for you. And that, I think, pays dividends, and I love it.
Well, I've had several careers, to be honest, and I've had highlights in all of them, so it's difficult to choose. I think if I think of my seagoing career, it's probably the feeling I used to have coming back on leave and all my friends and peers being incredibly jealous of what I've been up to, travelling the world and being paid for it. No, I think, as the colleague said, I think now in my current role, being able to provide training and advice and guidance for aspiring seafarers, serving seafarers, is a great reward in itself, and seeing others sort of come through that route as well. So yeah, lots of highlights, and hopefully more to come.
Where to start actually? So after a 43-year service, obviously I've done quite a bit within the service itself. I've flown in fast jets, I've flown helicopters, as part of engineering and post operations. So I've been quite fortunate in that way. Progressing through my naval career, so I'm at the highest rank I can do now. Although I've only got another 18 months to go, this is probably it. But really, it's the other opportunities the Navy offers you. So the sense of travel, camaraderie, being part of a team, working towards a shared goal. I think that's really important, and understand that the people around you share the same, gifts for workmanship, building a life together really. So I think I'm fortunate that people I've met and known and worked with. So I'll take all that way with me post my time within the Navy.
And that's it for now. We're back at 2:20.
Well, there you go, there's the first call already.
No questions?
No questions. I think we've got up to 14.